My name is Julie Pepito. We're trying to make 50 of this size butterfly. I'm an artist, and I also have been making a lot of art for protest. For this one, We the People Melt Ice. The whole vision is that the spring is coming. We will persist, and the flowers will be pushing up, and there'll be ice melting coming off of the flowers and the butterflies. Monarch butterflies, we're making 50 of them, and people will be holding them and they'll be flying together. And then we're also going to have flowers poking up through the crowd a couple of feet above the butterflies. I have been doing art builds.
This is obviously going to be
Here's some cardboard.
right.
It's making art together in community.
I mean, it's kind of annoying.
So we're making this flower. I have gotten cardboard, a box that's pretty big. It's a retractable blade knife, and I just cut straight through both halves here. So now I have two halves, and I'm gonna cut it again. You put your hand down really firmly, and then you press really hard, or you can do it several times very lightly. And this can be really rough. I'm gonna use that as a guide, but you can draw whatever flower you want. And then I cut the rough shape out. The most important thing with cutting cardboard is to press straight down with one hand so it doesn't move around. That's the final cut piece. I use any basic house paint that is white, and I like to use low VOC, but preferably no VOC. You want to just make sure it's really stirred up. I dip it in a couple of times and scrape it on the edges. Hold down. The key thing here is not using too much paint. There you go. That's step one. So step two, we're going to just redraw our flower. It can be super rough like that. And this time I'm using a 1-inch brush, and then I'm just going to paint in the center. Done. Step three is the outline, deep turquoise for this. Stir it up. It's like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. You just want to be looking really closely at the edge you're painting, and you don't want to be super far down on your brush because that will take you forever. You just try to kind of guide your brush along and not worry too much about it. Okay. There you go. I drew already this drop here, and I'm going to make it a little darker. So I'm again going to turn this. For lettering, I do line drawings for them first. A 1/2 inch brush. You position your pinky and you have your brush up pretty far because I want to be able to have full mobility like a pendulum here. I'm just following the line I made, and as you get more used to this, you may not need your pinky. I'll go over it again because you do want to be able to see it. So for the last step, we're going to connect the drop to the flower. First thing you need to do is poke a hole. You can use a pencil, the end of your knife, the end of a wire cutter, you know, about 1 inch from the top. No, so easy to pull through. So this is just a twisty tie. You can use wire, you could use yarn, you can use anything. And then I'm just going to twist it in the back like a twisty tie. The last part is attaching a stick. You can just use any kind of dowel you could get at a hardware store, or you could use a broomstick or anything. This is just cardstock that I've cut into a rectangle, and then you roll it around the dowel, and you just roll it really tightly, and then you tape it. You're going to put it on the back, and then you take some masking tape and you tape it on. You go along the edge so that it's glued down. You want to add a little more glue on one side and take a piece of brown paper that's cut about the same length, and you flatten it along the edge. Once that's down, you take the glue gun and you run a bead, so then you have it flattened down. Now it's really important that at the end of the tube you smash it down. I'm going to cut off the excess, and you can take another piece and you want to form it around the end, and it doesn't have to be super pretty because you're going to paint over it. So that's so that the stick doesn't just keep pointing out the top of it. And I would do a couple layers of that because right now it's just one. And you could also just use a piece of duct tape for this. And then you'll have a removable dowel that can go on a stick.